Great. I think we'll just wait for maybe 1 minute more and then start. Welcome to everyone. Thank you for joining in.
Good afternoon, Vaishali ji.
Hello, good afternoon. कैसे हैं सब?
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Dr. Atma. Just a question, is there anyone who's not comfortable with Hindi? या यहाँ पे सबको मतलब हिंदी और इंग्लिश में मिक्स आज सेशन रहेगा तो is it fine?
Yeah, hi, good afternoon. That would be better actually. Hindi and English mix.
Great. Okay, I think so. Dhaval and Gayatri from Danamojo team are here today. So if both of you are ready, we can start.
Sure. Do you want to
Let's do-
start immediately, or you want to wait for a couple of minutes to?
We can wait for maybe just a minute or so. 12:05 we'll start. Yeah. I'll do an introduction and then give it over to you. I think more people are joining in as I'm getting some messages for Shalini. Can you just help out people join? I think they need the link again from the FY group.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, great. All right. So I'd like to start now. And thank you so much for joining everyone. And welcome to Atma webinars. Of course, as you all know, I'm Vaishali and I'm a senior consultant at Atma. Atma is an accelerator that supports NGOs to become bigger, better, stronger by capacity building and creating systems and processes to solve organizational development issues that they face. We started our journey in 2007 and since have supported many organizations in this journey of excellence. And we're very happy to also share that we started this webinar platform in 2017, where speakers have been sharing their practical experience that can benefit other NGOs. And the topics have ranged from human resources, program management, finance, and any other pressing topics that affects all of us in the sector as a whole. And you can find all our previous webinars on our YouTube channel. And today's webinar, as you all know, that we are going to soon enter the last quarter of the financial year from January, and which means a whole lot of stress for a lot of us. With compliances, year-end reporting, data collection, and obviously the planning of budget and fundraising. And we all keep talking about diversifying funds and how it's important. And right from the beginning, I think individual giving has been a cornerstone in the beginning of any NGO, right? So we have Dhaval here today to share his insights on retail giving and individual giving. And we're so thankful to you for doing this for us, Dhaval. A little bit about Dhaval. Dhaval is the founder and CEO of Danamojo and has 15 years of experience spanning technology management consulting, and philanthropy advisory. He has worked with multinationals such as Citigroup and A.T. Kearney before he began a social sector journey at Give India, initially as a volunteer in 2006 and later joining full-time in 2008. He led Give India as a CEO for 4 years from 2011 to 14. He is an Aspen Fellow and a part of its India Leadership Initiative. Dhaval is an alumnus of the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, and computer science graduate from BGTI, Mumbai. Thank you so much for joining us today, Dhaval. And we also have Gayatri from Danamojo. Before we start, there's a request to all the audience members to put their questions in the chat box throughout the webinar, and Dhaval will take them up as possible. And then we also have a dedicated space. This is just to ensure that the flow of the webinar is there. Also, a small request for as much as possible to keep your videos on because it's nice to see faces. And अगर सभी जन कंफर्टेबल हैं तो हम हिंदी और इंग्लिश में मिक्स रखेंगे वेबिनार को. यूजुअली और भी साथी हैं डिफरेंट पार्ट से, तो थोड़ा इंग्लिश भी रखना ज़रूरी है, बट वी डू अंडरस्टैंड मराठी एंड हिंदी. तो आपको अगर सवाल आपके हिंदी या मराठी में डालने हैं चैट बॉक्स में, प्लीज़ फील फ्री टू डू दैट. एंड यस, दैट्स प्रीटी मच इट. और आज कुछ पोल क्वेश्चंस आ रहे हैं तो सब लोग ध्यान दीजिएगा. एंड यस, ओवर टू यू धवल.
Thank you, Vaishali, and thank you for this entire Atma team for being here and hosting us in this thing. And especially for the last thing, Vaishali, that you said about keeping cameras on. That is always nice. As many people as can possibly keep their cameras on. It's just always great speaking with people rather than with black screen. So thank you to everyone who has their cameras on and the others who can put it on. It would be great to do so. One additional request I will also make is if you can put your name, the name of your organization next to your name. That will be helpful. तो अगर आप सब लोग कैमरा ऑन कर सकते हैं और नाम अपना ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का नाम डाल सकते हैं अपने नाम के बाजू में, तो बात करने में ज्यादा आसानी रहती है. Right? And like Vaishali said, Hindi, Marathi, I can do Gujarati. My colleague can do Odia. So, if whichever language amongst these that you feel comfortable with is perfectly fine. Right? So I'm going to talk about a subject today, which obviously is very close to my heart and which I am very passionate about. And it's fantastic to have this opportunity to do this with more than 30 of y'all who've taken the pain to join us today, taken out the time to join us today. So that is about the power of individual giving, right? And my goal in today's session is to get many of all of y'all to think about individual donation, individual donors as a significant source of donation, which you must go out and actively reach, much like you would do for corporate donors or institutional donors, right? ये important है कि individual donors को भी आप aggressively आप follow करें, आप उनसे fundraise करें, आप passively ना सोचे कि जब भी कोई individual donor आता है मैं उनसे donation ले सकता हूँ, but जैसे आप CSR, जैसे आप institutional donors के साथ करते हैं, उनको follow करते हैं, individual donors also is something I would like you guys to think about as an important source. And that is really the goal of today's presentation. As Vaishali said, during the presentation, if you have any questions, please put it in the chat. We will take a separate Q&A session at the end of the presentation for about 10 to 15 minutes based on time. So we'll do that. But if you have any questions that are coming up during the presentation, please put them on chat. I will try to answer them to the extent possible and relevant in the conversation. And if it's not, then we'll take it up at the end. The team from Atma is taking notes around this as well. So they'll pick it up. So let's start with something out here. And to understand what are the different types of funding segments that are available. I think most of you all will know this. Broadly, 4 types of different funders. You have government, you have institutional or foundations that give money. Third is obviously CSR, and the fourth is individual. Now, within the individual segment, I like to break it up into 2 types, which is retail and HNI. So a retail donor, so what is a retail donor? What is a HNI donor? Let us understand that. Retail donor is obviously somebody who gives a small amount of donations. HNI donor is somebody who gives a large amount of donations, right? Very simply put. You can have your own definition of what you would consider retail and what you would consider as HNI, right? Some thumb rules could be to say, HNI donor is generally somebody who gives you more than ₹1,00,000, right? So that is something that you could look at. जो आपको 1,00,000 से ज़्यादा देता है, उसको आप HNI बुला सकते हैं. जो उससे कम देता है, आप उसको retail बुला सकते हैं. But this will depend organization to organization. If you're a larger organization, you may have a slightly different higher number. If you're smaller, you may have a smaller number. But let me thus give you another definition which I prefer. Is an HNI is someone जिसको आप मिलने जाओ, जिसको आप 1-on-1 पिच करोगे, जिसको आप 1-on-1 हर साल बाद में अपडेट देने के लिए जाओगे. And what is that amount of money that you feel is comfortable for you to make this act, to do this activity? Right? Will you do this for 5,000 rupees? Will you do this for 25,000? Will you do it for 5 lakhs? Right? Whatever that number is, that is your definition. क्योंकि जो रिटेल डोनर है उसको आप कभी 1-on-1 मिलने और 1-on-1 पूछने नहीं जाओगे. आप उसको कोई मास तरीके से करोगे, या तो आप उसको व्हाट्सएप करोगे, या तो आप उसको ईमेल करोगे. आप लेकिन आप या तो कॉल भी कर सकते हो, लेकिन हर एक को अपॉइंटमेंट लेके मिलने तो नहीं जा सकते रिटेल डोनर्स में. और ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है जो मैं बाद में भी बात करूंगा, दैट इट्स नॉट अबाउट मीटिंग ईच पर्सन 1-on-1, and that's the biggest difference between retail and others, and that is also the difference in cost that will come in. So before we move ahead, let us look at what are the different sources of fundraising for people in this group. I'm going to launch a poll which you should be able to see on your screen, right? And this is multi-question, so you can answer more than one option. What are the sources of funding for you amongst these 5 sources of funding that I spoke about? You can answer more than one. It would be great if everyone can respond on the poll. We have about, okay, now we have 40 people on this call. Hopefully we can get a good number of responses as well. I'll just give you another 15 seconds to do this.
Is everyone able to see the poll?
Yeah, I think we've got about 30 responses already. That's great. Okay, just the last 5 seconds in case anyone wants to put in. Okay, I'm ending the poll now, and I will share the results with you. Right? Very clearly, this is a group which is heavily into corporate giving, right? CSR. 80% of y'all are resourcing from corporates. On the other hand, individual retail is actually second highest, so not bad, right? Individual and individual HNI 53%, retail 67%. So a lot of you all are doing individual. But what I would be more interested in understanding, and I'll come to that a little later, is how much of you all do it actively versus it is just happening, right? Is it happening in the same way that you do CSR, or is it happening in a manner that is, okay, or somebody's coming, somebody's giving money, and that's about it. It is passive donation, not active donation, right? So we'll come to that. But yeah, this is very interesting. So let us understand the quantum first of all of individual giving in India. Like बहुत बार ऐसे ही होता है कि हम बोलते हैं कि यार कोई देता नहीं है, कोई देता नहीं है, कोई देते नहीं है, इसलिए हम कोई चीज को करते नहीं है. तो हम ये पहले देखते हैं कि इंडिविजुअल गिविंग makes up what percentage of donations for India. Right now, in the US, individual giving is 76%. राइट? यूएस में इंडिविजुअल गिविंग 76% है। आपका अनुमान क्या है, ये इंडिया के लिए क्या नंबर है? अगर हम दो टाइप के गिविंग को समझे, CSR कॉर्पोरेट गिविंग और इंडिविजुअल गिविंग, ऐसे दो टाइप ऑफ गिविंग है इंडिया में बाय एंड लार्ज। तो अगर ये दो टाइप के गिविंग है तो इसमें इंडिविजुअल गिविंग का क्या प्रतिशत होगा? Right? What is the percentage of individual giving in India as per your estimate? Please feel free to put it down on chat. If you don't know, guess. If you think you have an idea, then put a number. Okay, we have Kritika says 20-30%. Yuvraj is saying 65%. Charu is saying similar to it, 76%. Wow, very, very interesting. Haresh is saying 70% individual. ये तो बहुत अच्छा है। आप लोगों को ऐसा लगता है कि इतना ज्यादा इंडिविजुअल है, तो मेरा नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन रहने वाला है, तो सिर्फ क्यों 50 या 60% लोग इंडिविजुअल कर रहे हैं? Why aren't 100% of you all doing individual and doing a lot more of individual? And we'll come to what that lot more would be. Right? So yeah, okay, too much effort. I think that's the difference in how you do it. So a lot of you all are saying 70%, 90%, 40, 55. I am amazed that you all are almost in the right zone. 70% of all donations were by individuals in the year 2021, right? There is a COVID effect on this, and I will remove that COVID effect in the next slide. But 70% was by individual. And this is not based on survey. This is not based on just some second, asking people where they give. This is actually based on documentary evidence, right? Documentary evidence based on what reports are filed with the government when people claim tax benefits, right? So we all file our returns, and the government discloses that what was the amount of returns that people claimed ATG, right? And that is amount, right? Not number of people, amount of ATG claimed. And in 2021, 70% of that made up individuals. And I will say that this is yet an underestimation because of a few reasons. First of all, as you may know, many people don't even claim tax benefits for small donations, right? There is, based on anecdotal evidence from large organizations, this number is could be as high as 30 to 40% of people who donate don't claim tax benefit, especially at the retail level. A lot of donors would now move to the new tax regime. And once again, if they made a donation, that is not getting counted out here. Further on the edge, so these are more on the retail side of things. On the HNI side of things, individual tax benefit is capped at 10% of income, right? Many donors, especially HNIs, give far more than that, far more. But their tax benefit gets capped at 10% because they are giving out of wealth. They are not as much giving out of income, right? They are giving out of their stock portfolio, right? Which has just increased. That's not income, that's wealth, right? And many donors thus give a lot more, and that's where it doesn't come through. Many HNIs give via shares. जो बड़े डोनर्स होते हैं, कभी कभी वो शेयर्स के द्वारा देते हैं, लैंड देते हैं, बिल देते हैं, बिक्वेस्ट देते हैं, बहुत सारी चीजें, ये सब टैक्स बेनिफिट में कैप्चर नहीं होती है. None of this is captured in tax benefit. So because of that, as a result, this number of 70% is anyway underestimated, right? However, having said that, there was a COVID effect, right? It increased a lot. It feels like a lot of increase because actually corporate giving came down. But if you look at data in the past 4 years also, you will see the data is above 40%. And I will argue because of the fact that there is underestimation, क्योंकि मैंने जो reasons बताए उसकी वजह से ये number actually कम है, ज़्यादा होना चाहिए. तो मेरे हिसाब से 50% on average पिछले 5 साल में तो है ही है individual donations minimum. Minimum individual donation making up half donations that are happening in this country. Right? Now, if you see the actual numbers, this was percentage. You look at the actual numbers. In 1920, we had COVID, and most of the corporates gave a lot of money during that time. And because of that, giving by corporates was 25,000 crores. But in the next year, in the immediate next year, it is down to 8,000 crores because they have given more than they were supposed to give. उनको जितना देना था उससे ज्यादा दिया है. अगर आप 2 साल का एवरेज कर लो तो 17,000 करोड़ आता है. जो नॉर्मल ग्रोथ है 15,000 करोड़ से 17,000 करोड़. And in fact, corporate giving in the last year at 8,000 crores is the lowest it has ever been in the last 10 years since the CSR Act was introduced. On the other hand, if you look at individual giving, it has grown 200%, right? Over the last 5 years, grown from 6,300 crores to about 20,000 crores, right? These numbers are very similar to this data is based on the budget reports, but numbers are similar for other ways of calculating the data. Somebody's come out with 20,000, somebody's come out with 25,000, somebody's come out with 27,000, but it's broadly in the same range. Right? And this is again, all people who have claimed tax benefits, which means it has all gone to NGOs. A common सवाल होता है जो I'm surprised nobody has asked in the chat, how much of this is religious donations, right? And there is no religious donation in this. क्योंकि religious donation जो होता है उसको generally ATG receipt नहीं मिलती for religious activity. They may get an ATG for social and charitable activities that they do, but they generally don't get it for the religious activity. And that is why the donation out here will not incorporate that amount. This is pure charitable donations. और अगर हम पिछले 5 साल में भी देखें कि कितना डोनेशन होता है, तो 3 साल में, out of the last 5 years, 3 years, the numbers have been higher than corporate giving. The growth has been higher. Right? I think we have a couple of questions I just want to take at this time. Kritika is asking, is there a statewide breakup where the largest individual donations are coming from? No, Kritika, unfortunately, we have not been able to get more data apart from the overall numbers, though we've tried a lot. And how much is donated to their own family foundations? I think that number, Revti, so Revti is asking how much of the money is to their own family foundations. I think, Revti, even if that amount is to their own family foundation, and I think the number of family foundations would be very low compared to the total number of people giving and how much even goes into these family foundations, that number would be much lower. Anyway, it does not matter because eventually that money is going to come out to get used for charitable purposes or towards other charitable organizations, right? And also what money you give out there, that will be far more than the 10% income level. So I don't think most of that would qualify for tax benefits. So like I said, that would be another reason why these numbers are significantly underestimated compared to what the actual numbers would be. Let's kind of zoom out a little bit. थोड़ा बाहर निकलते हैं और देखते हैं दुनिया में क्या हो रहा है. Right? So in India, this was a study done by Bain quite some time ago, where they said that giving in India is 0.6% of GDP. तो giving ये तरीके से calculate होता है generally comparison के लिए कि what percentage of GDP is giving in a particular country. तो India में ये 0.6% था, right? बाकी भी काफी surveys हुए हैं जिनमें ये देखा गया है कि United States is generally the highest at 2.2%, and all developing countries are ranged from about 1 to 2%. But all of them will be above 1% typically. Like you see a few in this slide, UK at 1.3 and Canada at 1.2. The rest of the developed countries, are also in the 1% plus range. Now in India, individual giving, like we said, is about 50%, is estimated at 0.2 to 0.3% of GDP, right? However, this is an opportunity for us as over the next, maybe 10 years, 15 years, even 20 years, we would go and become a developed country. So we should expect that our giving also from 0.6% is probably going to double and reach about 1 to 1.2%. We have a huge population today of 140 crores. Today itself, we have a population of about 75 crores, which is in the zone of an earning population, more than 80 crores who are above 25 years old, who are earning. And then tomorrow we have another group of about 20 to 25 crores in the 18 to 24 year population who are going to start earning. And ये सब लोग, ये 100 करोड़ की जो आबादी है, ये आबादी कल देने वाली है, right? तो हमारे पास एक बहुत बड़ा base है of an earning population which is going to likely to keep giving, and that is what is going to propel our giving also to levels of which is going to double from these levels. तो थोड़ा मैक्रो पिक्चर लेते हैं कि वो क्या हो रहा है, राइट? सो वी सेड एवरेज में हमने देखा 45% हो रहा है, हम बोल रहे हैं 50% से ज्यादा है. यूएस में ऑलरेडी ये 75% से ज्यादा है, तो वी आर गोइंग टू आल्सो मूव इन दैट डायरेक्शन. उसके बाद हमने बात की जीडीपी की कि हाँ भी तो 0.2 to 0.3 है और ये 1% तक जाने वाला है और ये जाएगा हमारी 100 करोड़ की आबादी के साथ, राइट। तो इसका क्या मतलब है गिविंग के लिए? So it is estimated that giving on average is going to increase at least 20% year on year. Last 5 years, giving has grown by 30% on average. If you look at the last 5 years, across 5 years, it was 200%, but on average, year on year, about 30%. And this is 3 times faster than corporate giving. Corporate giving has grown by about 10% year on year over the last 5 years. Or corporate giving by nature will not grow faster, right? क्योंकि जो हमारी ओवरऑल जीडीपी है जो कॉर्पोरेट से आती है, जो गवर्नमेंट से आती है, वो हमारी 6% ग्रो होती है, राइट। नॉमिनल बेसिस दैट इज अबाउट 10-11%। तो हमारा जो कॉर्पोरेट का जो रेवेन्यू है, प्रॉफिट है, ओवरऑल लेवल पे 10-12% ग्रो होने वाला। And they have to give 2% of that, and most of them will not give more than 2%. They will not give. There's no reason for them to now give more than 2% towards CSR. तो जो ग्रोथ है वो 10-12% ही रहने वाला है। लेकिन जो इंडिविजुअल डोनर है वो आज 0.2 to 0.3% ऑफ इनकम दे रहा है। आप ऐसे समझ लो 0.2 to 0.3% ऑफ जीडीपी तो कंट्री इनकम होती है, बट इंडिविजुअल इनकम का भी हम सेम पकड़ सकते हैं। So they are giving 0.2 to 0.3% if they are giving at all. And you know how many people are, giving. Many of you are not asking because you don't know who to go and ask. तो बहुत कम लोग दे रहे हैं, जो दे रहे हैं वो भी इतना ही दे रहे हैं, राइट। तो हम ये सोच सकते हैं कि अगर ये लोग 1% दे अपने इनकम का तो कितना ज्यादा हो सकता है? 5 times more it is. And that is what is going to propel growth to 30%, 18%, 20% growth over the next 15 to 20 years. So 25,000 crores is what it is today, or $3.3 billion, 20,000 crores. That is going to grow and become $40 billion over the next 10, 15 years. So we've seen that there is a huge potential out here. Now, we saw that about 18 in the last poll that we ran, about 60%, 67% of you all said that we are raising money from retail donors, right? We also saw that this money that, but retail donors are occupying about what, 50% of all donations. Now let us understand, let me ask you, what is that percentage that you are raising from individual donors, right? Individual donors से आप कितना लेते हो? So I have just launched another poll. If all of you all can respond to it, what is the share of individual donations in your total donations? इसमें एक ही आंसर दे सकते हैं। तो 50% डोनेशंस कंट्री में इंडिविजुअल डोनर से आ रहा है, राइट? 40-50, अ वेरी हाई नंबर। आपका कितना है? Okay, we've got about 25 responses. Maybe we take another 10 seconds to get more responses. So Ranjit ji, आप पोल में डाल सकते हैं. It would be good to get your response in the poll. Okay. So I've once again got 30 responses. Maybe 5 seconds more if anyone wants to give their responses. ठीक है, मैं आपके साथ अभी इसलिए रिजल्ट शेयर करता हूँ, राइट? तो अगर आप देखेंगे 45% प्लस 3% जो जीरो है, 48% ऑफ एनजीओज आर डूइंग लेस देन 10%। तो आधे जो एनजीओज आज के ग्रुप में है वो 10% से कम इंडिविजुअल डोनर से रेज करते हैं। Nearly 50% of this group is raising less than 10% from individual donors, right? And we have seen that individual donations are close to 50% of all donations. So if you are raising less than 10%, my gut is you're doing it very passively. It is not an active plan. It is not an active outreach, active fundraising, the way you are probably doing for CSR donations, for individual donations. right? But I would really commend the 22% who are already doing more than 50%. So great, great guys. I think everyone needs to become a little bit more like them from a diversification perspective. And when I say that, I mean, it is not that you stop doing individual. It is not that you stop doing retail, stop doing CSR. It is that you start doing individual in a more active fashion, for lack of a better word, aggressive or assertive fashion is the way I would look at you to do retail, to do individual donations. तो एक तो हमने देख लिया कि इंडिविजुअल डोनेशन से काफी डोनेशन आते हैं. हम अभी देखते हैं कि इंडिविजुअल डोनेशन में अलग क्या है एंड व्हाई आर वी टॉकिंग अबाउट डाइवर्सिफिकेशन, राइट? So let us understand different parameters of how people give in these different donor segments, how they decide, क्या होता है, कैसे करते हैं. So first of all, why do each of these donor segments give, right? Why are they giving? Right? So government and institutional obviously to solve a problem, right? They have a problem, they want to solve it. So that's why they're giving. CSR एक तो law है, right? दूसरा social responsibility होता है काफी लोगों को. Brand है, right? So brand building के लिए भी लोग देते हैं. लेकिन जो इंडिविजुअल और HNI है उसके बहुत ज्यादा अलग अलग मोटिवेशन होते हैं जो आप अगर देखोगे तो दे आर वेरी डिसिमिलर टू व्हाट इट इज फॉर अदर सेगमेंट्स. तो गिविंग बैक हो सकता है, पर्सनल ड्यूटी हो सकता है, मैं अपने पेरेंट्स के लिए दे रहा हूँ, मेरे पेरेंट्स कैंसर से पीड़ित थे तो मैं उनके लिए दे रहा हूँ. कोई बोलेगा कि मुझे गिल्ट कॉन्शियस है, कोई ड्यूटी टू गिव है. सो लॉट ऑफ डिफरेंट रीजंस आर देयर, लार्जली पर्सनल, लॉट इमोशनल इन नेचर on why they are choosing to give. How do they decide? How does the decision get made? You will get money if your work matches a scheme or policy of the government, right? They have to have a scheme or policy under which you'll apply, typically. If that is happening, then you'll get money, otherwise you won't. Similarly, for a foundation, are you solving the same problem that the foundation is looking to solve? Right? If it is in the same broad area or a narrower area, then you are more likely to get that donation. On the other hand, बाकी जो है वो थोड़े अलग है. कॉर्पोरेट CSR में एक तो होता है आपको कोई कनेक्ट होना चाहिए, राइट? स्पेशली अगर छोटी कंपनी है तो कनेक्ट होना चाहिए. बड़ी कंपनी है तो आप डाल सकते हो प्रपोजल, लेकिन अगर कनेक्ट होता है टॉप लेवल पे तो ज्यादा इजी होता है. और प्लस फोकस एरिया में होना चाहिए. अगर वो कॉर्पोरेट लाइवलीहुड में काम ही नहीं करता है तो आप कुछ भी कर लो, आपको वो नहीं मिलने वाला है ग्रांट. Right? On the other hand, with individuals, it is different. So one with HNI, it has to be connected. You have to know people, right? You have to know the person, or you have to know somebody who knows the person. That is true for all individuals. और उसके बाद they should trust you. I think that is another important thing. They should trust you. And for HNI, it should be part of their focus area कि वो कैसे देने वाले. तो इससे क्या होता है कि हम इनको कैसे reach करेंगे, right? How are we going to reach them? So government is obviously a cold call. अगर scheme match होगा, policy match होगा तो आपको पैसा मिल सकता है. Similarly in foundation, corporate CSR and individual HNI on the other hand will be referrals a lot more. If you can get a referral for a CSR, it will be much easier. And without a referral, HNI will not happen at all. Right? So don't even try. A lot of people ask me that मुझे कोई HNI पता नहीं है तो मैं start कैसे करूं? मैं बोलूंगा आप start ही मत करो. जब आपको कोई मिलता है, जब कोई बाई चांस कैसे तो आ सकता है आपके कनेक्ट में, फिर आप सोचो इसके बारे में. लेकिन रिटेल वो ऐसी चीज है ना जो हम सबके पास है, हम सब लोगों को जानते हैं. अगर मैं आपको अभी पूछूं कि आपके कितने फेसबुक फ्रेंड्स हैं या आपके कितने कॉन्टैक्ट्स है व्हाट्सएप पे या आपके फोन पे, तो मुझे ये आंसर 200 से 500 के बीच में जनरली नंबर मिलता है मिनिमम. लोगों के पास 1500 2500 कॉन्टैक्ट्स भी होते हैं. तो हम सब लोगों को जानते हैं. तो अगर हम सब लोगों को जानते हैं तो ये इतना डिफिकल्ट नहीं है, क्योंकि ये सब लोग हमारे आसपास ही है. सो हु मेक्स द डिसीजन? Who makes the decision on giving this money? For government, it's probably an officer, there's probably a committee. Institutions, definitely committee. CSR में तो committee होती है, right? और individual में मैं खुद decide करूंगा या family के साथ decide करूंगा. तो इसका स्पीड पे क्या डिसीजन होता है, वो उसमें और एक पैरामीटर आता है कि किसका पैसा है। तो पहले 3 सेगमेंट में तो उनका पैसा नहीं है जो डिसाइड कर रहा है, लेकिन लास्ट में है। तो कौन सा चीज सबसे फास्ट रहेगा, जब मुझे अपने पैसे के बारे में डिसाइड करना है या जब मुझे और किसी के पैसे के बारे में डिसाइड करना है? ये तो काफी ऑब्वियस चीज है, राइट, दैट यू विल डिसाइड योर मनी द फास्टेस्ट. All other mechanisms are far slower than that. If you have any questions during this process, please put it in the chat box. Like I mentioned earlier, I will try to answer the questions as they come if it's relevant to what we are discussing at that point. Otherwise, we'll take it up at the end. Right? जिसको अगर questions डालने हैं, आप please डाल सकते हैं. Right? So decision making process of individuals is faster. लोग अपने पैसे का सब अपने पैसे है तो हम डिसाइड करेंगे कहाँ देना है, which is always the fastest. The last thing is how much and how do they give, for how long, how much and how do they give. So we have to understand what is the decision-making process for each segment. For first 3 segments of government, institutional, and corporate, it's a much more rational process because they are not deciding their own money. There isn't one person deciding. There's typically a committee deciding. थोड़ा टाइम लगता है, एक रैशनल डिसीजन मेकिंग प्रोसेस होता है और थोड़ा अमाउंट भी जाता है, राइट? इसलिए इंडिविजुअल एचएनआई का जो प्रोसेस होता है वो भी एक रैशनल प्रोसेस होता है, लेकिन वो एक इमोशन से चालू हुआ है. द रीजन टू गिव इज स्टार्टेड फ्रॉम एन इमोशनल इंपल्स. अभी कहाँ देना है, कैसे देना है, कौन से को, वो थोड़ा रैशनल हो जाता है क्योंकि दे आर गिविंग लार्ज अमाउंट्स ऑफ मनी, सो दे विल वांट टू मेक अ थॉट आउट प्रोसेस. लेकिन जो आदमी 1000 रुपए दे रहा है, 500 रुपए दे रहा है, 5000 दे रहा है, 10,000 भी कभी दे रहा है, वो एक इम्पल्स प्रोसेस हो सकता है, वो एक बहुत ही इमोशनल प्रोसेस है, राइट? तो वो अलग प्रोसेस है. हम ये नहीं बोल रहे कि क्या सही है क्या गलत है, हम सिर्फ ये देख रहे हैं कि क्या सिमिलर है क्या अलग है, क्योंकि हमें हमारी फंडिंग सोर्सेज को डाइवर्सिफाई करना बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट है. सो व्हाट इज द टाइम पीरियड फॉर विच नॉर्मली दीज पीपल विल गिव? For government, it's 1 year. Institutional foundation could be 5 to 7 years as well. Corporate CSR is about 3 to 5 years, right? So institution foundation ज़्यादा टाइम के लिए देते हैं, CSR भी 3 से 5 साल दे सकता है, लेकिन it is up for annual renewal every time. If the company doesn't make a profit, you may lose money. If the company makes lesser profit, you may lose money. If the company CEO changes, there is probably going to be a change in its CSR strategy and you may lose money. तो ये वाइल आपको दे रहे हैं हर साल, ये रिन्यूअल तो आपके ऊपर एक इट्स अ स्वॉर्ड हैंगिंग ऑन योर नेक, राइट? ऑन द अदर हैंड विद इंडिविजुअल्स, इफ यू एंगेज विद देम, इफ वंस दे हैव गिवन यू, यू एंगेज विद देम एंड दे लव यू, इट कैन बी लाइफ टाइम गिविंग. दे आर नॉट लुकिंग एट अदर ऑप्शंस. दे डोंट हैव अ नीड टू से अच्छा 3 साल दिया अभी और कहीं देते, बोर हो गए. ऐसा नहीं है. अगर आपने उनको एंगेज किया है, अगर आपने उनके साथ टाइम बिताया है, तो ना ही लाइफ टाइम देंगे लेकिन अक्रॉस जनरेशन देंगे. व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ दैट? मल्टी जनरेशन, राइट? मेनी टाइम्स many times you have children who are living abroad, parents are in India, children want to give back to India. Which is the organization you think they will pick? Right? Very obviously they will pick organizations which are organizations of these people, right, where their parents have already been giving. So you not only have the opportunity for lifetime giving, but you have an opportunity of getting money across generations. If you have made them love your organization, if you have engaged them, and you have taken care of them as well. What is the amount that each donor gives for each of this, right? Again, quite obvious. Government institution में ज़्यादा होता है, CSR, HNI में medium, if we might say. Retail by definition is low amount. It is the amounts of less than 1 lakh, as I said earlier. छोटे amounts है काफी. How many donors? Government तो एक ही है, government, right? Central government, state government आप सोच सकते हैं, शायद 2 हो सकते हैं, but generally 1. Institution, foundations थोड़े बहुत है, ज़्यादा नहीं है. CSR अभी obviously because it's the law, lot of corporates that one can reach out to. And similarly, lot of HNIs. One may not know how to or where to, but there are a lot of HNIs. There are a lot of people who are giving money as well, right? So, and obviously retail is huge, right? I think large also is a small word. Huge is the number that we could classify for retail. So, इससे क्या हो रहा है, right? That they are all, the first 3 are similar. अगर आप एक्टिवली सिर्फ गवर्नमेंट इंस्टीट्यूशनल CSR से पैसा ले रहे हैं आज की तारीख में, तो इट इज लाइक ओनिंग stocks of TCS, Infosys, and Wipro and saying my funding is diversified. I'm sure a lot of you all will know that that is not the case. You have to diversify across sectors because they have different characteristics. And my point out here is to show you that an individual donor has very different characteristics compared to the first three segments. And that is the result why the idea why you must look at having individual in your base of donors. क्योंकि अगर आप ये अमाउंट पर डोनर और हाउ मेनी डोनर्स को मल्टीप्लाई करो ना, तो सब सेगमेंट में पैसा तो बहुत है. You have lot of money in all the places. That is not the problem, right? I think the most important thing at this point of time is having that mindset that yes, I need to do this because it is large, because it is important, and most importantly, because I can do it and I'm not dependent on anyone. Remember, each of you has so many contacts. So we've spoken about large amount of money, source of diversification. What are some of the other kind of non-tangible benefits that are there? Right? So we talked about diversify, it provides a true source of diversification. Stability. Retail donors provide, individual donors provide a stability which no other segment can provide. जैसे अगर किसी के पास 5 CSR डोनर है, अगर एक चला जाता है, ये आपका एक CSR डोनर चला गया, 20% आपका फंडिंग लेके गया, how difficult is it to replace that one donor? Won't you be really on tenterhooks trying to figure out how to get that one donor and one CSR which can, gap fund the one who has left, right? On the other hand, retail तो ऐसा है ना, individual ऐसा है, अगर 20 छोड़ के गए, आप 20 को और भी ला सकते हो. You are meeting people every day. You can meet new people. You can even reach out to a lot of your people who are not yet giving. So it is not as difficult to even replace a retail donor compared to a corporate donor. Like I said earlier, the scope is unlimited. Corporate से 2% CSR से ही आने वाला, उससे ज़्यादा नहीं होने वाला. Right? They are going to give you annually. Maybe they'll sign 3-5 year contracts, but 2 साल, मतलब every year they will try to make that happen. On the other hand, an individual donor can give you much more. Right? An individual donor does not have this 2% limit. He's anyway giving much lesser. Like I said, maybe he's giving 0.2% of his income, 0.1% of his income. So his ability to give is much, much lower. Fundraise. Right? जो अभी ये चीज है, ये बहुत खासियत है एक डोनर्स के लिए कि वो आपके लिए फंड रेज कर सकते हैं. क्राउड फंडिंग तो बहुत लोगों ने सुना ही होगा यहाँ पे. तो क्राउड फंडिंग में आपके जो सपोर्टर्स हैं, वॉलंटियर्स हैं, वो काफी बार आपके लिए फंड रेज करते हैं. आपके जो एग्जिस्टिंग डोनर्स हैं, वो आपको नए डोनर्स रेफर करवा सकते हैं. राइट? सो यू कैन हैव अ लॉट ऑफ सच केसेस, बट इन इंडिविजुअल विच यू विल नेवर हैव इन एनी अदर सेगमेंट. You will never have a corporate donor or institutional donor referring you, right? And actively promoting you. When I say refer, it also means promote. और जो लास्ट चीज है, जो मेरे हिसाब से सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट है, राइट, इज एंगेज. जो अगर डोनर जो है, आपने अपनी संस्था चालू की है कुछ परिवर्तन लाने के लिए, कुछ चेंज लाने के लिए, टू मेक अ बेटर सोसाइटी. If you can get more partners, if you can communicate the message to a large number of people, and they can also be a part of that change, they can also drive that change, तो फिर आपका पर्पस खत्म हो, आपका पर्पस हो रहा है, राइट? आपका जो आपने जिससे चालू किया था वो कंप्लीट हो रहा है. And that is what a retail donor helps you to bring. It helps you to spread the word. It helps you to bring awareness around your cause, and it helps in many, many intangible ways beyond the funds, which are obviously very, very important. तो ये सब थे, बट और इसके आगे मैं ये भी बोलूंगा कि देयर आर पीपल डू वांट टू गिव. आई थिंक अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम्स वी आर नॉट आस्किंग इनफ. जब हमने मांगा तब हमने पैसा मिला, लेकिन जब मोस्टली हम मांगते नहीं है, people want to give. So this is an old survey, but I think it's yet relevant, where 75% of people said they were willing to spend money on products by socially responsible companies, right? This is something that we have. And if you look at this data, it is all of developing countries. So developing countries itself are cases where इंडिया में सबसे ज्यादा लोग हैं जो सोशल में देना चाहते हैं। और बहुत सारे सर्वेज हुए हैं ये चीजों पे, बहुत सारे सर्वेज हुए हैं जिसमें बताया गया है कि हाँ यार, इंडिया में जो लोग हैं वो देना चाहते हैं। Right? So there is Indians are least cynical and most enthusiastic about driving positive change. More than 80% of donors have given at least once a year by a report by CAP. The given का definition थोड़ा ज्यादा था, volunteering, donation, resources, skills, time, ये सब भी giving में आता है, but more than 84% have given. Right? And जैसे मैंने बोला, अलग अलग रिपोर्ट अलग चीजें बोलते हैं, but again, you know, one more report, India Philanthropy report said 21% growth per year each year over the last 5 years in individual donations. ये भी है, बट एक इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है इंडिविजुअल, जो फिलैंथ्रोपी इन फोकस रिपोर्ट ने बोला, दैट मोस्ट इंडियन नॉन प्रॉफिट्स look to everyday giving only when other streams are inaccessible. जो इंडियन एनजीओज है वो इंडिविजुअल डोनेशन तभी जात के मांगते हैं जब भी बाकी कोई ऑप्शन नहीं है। क्या मुझे चैट बॉक्स में लोग बता सकते हैं कि ये लास्ट कब हुआ था? राइट, कैन यू टेल मी वेयर इट हैज हैपेंड लास्ट दैट पीपल have dried up their sources of funding, and that is when they have gone and asked individuals, and individuals have given and responded very well also. When was the last time you reached out a lot to individuals and they gave to you as well? Nobody? Kritika, Azhar, I will come to your questions, or you can ask them during the Q&A. Nobody wants to say this? Where does this cut with you the most? Most Indian non-profits look to everyday giving only when other streams are inaccessible. That's right, Charu, Usha, right? Everyone has said it. COVID. In COVID, a lot of people asked donations, a lot of NGOs asked donations from individuals, and individuals gave as well, right? However, very few of those NGOs continue to engage with those organizations, and we saw this at Danamojo with the organizations that we work with. Very few of them engage, and that's where again they lost those donations next year. Few organizations engage very well, and they continue to this day continue to get donations from such NGOs, from such donors. Sorry. So COVID, and why did individual giving increase during COVID? Right? एक तो लॉकडाउन हो गया, CSR फंडिंग PM केयर्स में चला गया, FCRA फंडिंग would take time to come through, FCRA के लॉस चेंज हो गए, लॉकडाउन was there, social distancing was there, तो इंडिविजुअल गिविंग बढ़ा और ऑनलाइन गिविंग बढ़ा। ऑनलाइन गिविंग इसलिए बढ़ा क्योंकि लोग बाहर नहीं जा सकते थे, right? They couldn't go to the organizations to give, so you would give online. And this is further seen in a lot of the data that we have seen around increase of giving through different forms of payments. So let me ask you guys that what is your level of online giving in your organizations? So I'm just going to run one last poll. I'm wondering where the poll has gone, but I can't see it. I mean, launch it. Okay. Vaishali, can you help me with launching the third poll on online donations? I don't know why it's not launching for me.
Shalini, can I ask you to? Because it's
Yes,
not
yes.
letting me do
Yep.
either.
Okay. I have launched the poll.
The third one, yeah?
Yes, the third one, the share of online donations.
Okay, yeah. Okay. I think window was available. Yes. So if you all can tell us what is the share of online donations? क्योंकि आज की तारीख में जो individual donor है वो तो अभी ऑनलाइन देना चाहता है, तो क्या आपके वेबसाइट पे या क्या आपके पास कोई तरीका है ये ऑनलाइन डोनेशंस लेने का? Right? And how much of your donations are coming online? Let's give this another 5 seconds. Okay. So we've got about 28 answers. I'm going to share the results. Right. So इसमें वापस हम देख रहे हैं 50 more than 50% is less than 10% is via online. Right. Less than 10% is via online for 50% of you. Right. So I'm assuming that the fact that it is 0% for nearly 20% means you don't have a way of doing it itself. Right. So I think that it is important to expand your base of donors, expand the way in which people can give. Right. And that is something that is very, very important. So let's, so I think it is important for each one of you to have some way in which you can look at this segment and aim to get donations online, because that is how people want to give. Now, what are some of the different channels that you could use? And we have a 3-phase process that we talk about when we speak about individual or retail fundraising more specifically. So here we call it the start, grow, and scale phase. And with each phase, the investments would increase as well. So the first phase is the start phase, where we talk about the lowest amount of investment, something but not significant, where you could first of all make sure you have a way of doing online donations on your website, right? Have an online payment gateway, have a system where you can get donations online because people want to give in an easy manner, in a seamless manner. To reach out to these people, you need an email marketing platform. You'll use email marketing to reach out to these people and get donations. And third, crowdfunding. I'm sure by now a lot of y'all are aware of crowdfunding, but crowdfunding is a great way to also get donations by getting your volunteers, getting your board members, getting champions, getting supporters to raise money for you, right? Not for you to raise money on a crowdfunding platform, because that's just fundraising. You know, whether you do it on that platform, you do it on your own site, it is really the same thing. There is no big difference. But getting others to raise money from you is also where you will get new donors. The second stage is the growth stage, right? And this is where we talk about a little bit more investment, where you say WhatsApp marketing platform, social media marketing. And when I say social media marketing, I mean advertising. I don't mean posting on social media. And about that also, let me just say that social media posting by and large does not help you to raise money. It will help you to raise awareness. It will help you to raise engagement for your cause. So do a social media posting, but don't ask for money at all in social media. Just focus on engagement. I have not seen a single organization in India or abroad raise money by simply posting on social media, irrespective of the number of followers they have. Organizations do raise money, especially the large ones, on social media, but it is advertising. You have to spend money for it. Third is obviously offline events. And the last is scale, which are more typical traditional methods of fundraising, which larger organizations tend to have far more investments. These are direct marketing, telemarketing, and face-to-face fundraising. So let's look at what are the compliance requirements of individual donors. Right? तो individual donors से पैसे लेने के लिए हमें क्या लगता है? तो पहले थोड़े myths हम समझ लेते हैं. तो एक तो इन लोगों को लगता है कि कोई अलग कंप्लायंस है इंडियन और फॉरेनर्स के लिए. नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है, राइट? और दूसरा, लोगों को लगता है कि अगर डोनर को टैक्स बेनिफिट चाहिए तो ही मुझे इंफॉर्मेशन कलेक्ट करनी है, बाकी मुझे इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं कलेक्ट करनी है. नहीं, ऐसा भी नहीं है. You need to collect name, address, and nationality of every donor. Without name and address, it is considered an anonymous donation. Without nationality, you don't know whether he's Indian or foreign. Right? And whether, if you don't have FCRA, are you even allowed to collect money from such a person? So name and address is a compulsory requirement for all donors. और अगर donor को tax benefit चाहिए, then he needs to give PAN or Aadhaar. और हम generally बोलते हैं आधार मत collect करो, too many privacy issues around it. So collect PAN. It's a simpler approach. Right? So PAN is required only if tax benefit is required, or if your donation is more than 50,000 from a donor in that year, then you require PAN. लेकिन अगर आपने ये कलेक्ट नहीं किया तो डोंट गेट स्कैर्ड, डोंट बी अफ्रेड, घबराइए मत. क्योंकि आजकल डोनेशंस अगर क्यूआर कोड से हम दे सकते हैं, राइट, तो अगर हम QR कोड से डोनेशन डोनर देना चाहता है, क्योंकि वो बहुत ही आसान तरीका है, इजी तरीका है, लेकिन QR कोड से जब वो डोनेशन करता है तभी आपको नेम एंड एड्रेस नहीं मिलने वाला. So government has given a provision, very old provision before QR code of something called anonymous donation. You are allowed to collect anonymous donations up to 1 lakh or 5% of your total income, 5% of your income. तो अगर आपके डोनर्स, आपका बजट 1 करोड़ है, राइट, यू कैन क्लेम 5 lakhs ऑफ दैट इज अनोनिमस. और अगर आपका 5 लाख से बढ़ भी गया, it's okay. You have to pay tax on that additional amount. You will pay 30% tax, you'll yet get to keep 70% of the money. Right? So that is something on compliance. This is all that is there on compliance. You need name, address, very important, and additionally PAN if you want to provide tax benefit. So let me come to the last part, and then we'll head off into the Q&A from here. Is some of the myths of retail fundraising, and I've seen some of the questions out here in terms of where are these people, or the cost is very high, or I don't have a strategy, or it's a different way thing. So let me address some of these myths. I think one myth is that people think crowdfunding is retail fundraising. Crowdfunding is not retail fundraising. Crowdfunding is crowdfunding. The difference is in crowdfunding, you are also doing retail fundraising, but retail fundraising is not limited to crowdfunding. It is a larger bucket. Retail fundraising is more about when you have a strategy to reach out to retail donors on a regular basis throughout the year, not just one campaign that you do in one time, which is what crowdfunding is. Crowdfunding can be part of a retail fundraising strategy. It is not a substitute of retail fundraising. It is not retail fundraising. अगर आपने क्राउडफंडिंग कैंपेन किया, इसका ये मतलब नहीं है कि आप रिटेल फंडरेजिंग कर रहे हो, बिल्कुल ही नहीं. आप एक चीज कर रहे हो, एक टाइम कर रहे हो, वापस वो करोगे कि नहीं नेक्स्ट स्टेप आपको भी पता नहीं है. A lot of people, somebody mentioned out here that people prefer giving by check and bank transfer, right? Because they are close to us and all of that. And I know many times people also think that they would like to give, they would like to get donations through this because it is zero cost. Yes, I think Sajita said that. And it is not the case, right? For people who have taken money through this, you know how much problem it is. You will go and deposit the check. एक तो कोई जाना पड़ता है बैंक में चेक डिपॉजिट करने के लिए, कभी कभी चेक क्लियर नहीं होता है, बाउंस होता है या प्रॉब्लम होता है, देन अगेन द एंटायर कम्युनिकेशन सीक्वेंस स्टार्ट्स विद दैट पर्सन, राइट? सिमिलरली विद बैंक ट्रांसफर, पैसा आ गया आपके बैंक में, आपको पता नहीं किसने भेजा है. अगेन वन मोर लूप स्टार्ट्स इन फिगरिंग आउट हु हैज गिवन द मनी. ये जो टाइम है, आप प्लीज ये टाइम का कॉस्ट लगाइए. आप ये सोचिए कि आपको कितना टाइम लगता है ये सब चीजों में, राइट? आप ये मत सोचिए कि यार आप जो पैसे दे रहे हैं पेमेंट गेटवे को वो बहुत ज्यादा है. आप अपना टाइम जो है उसको पहले वैल्यू कीजिए. Second, a lot of people think it's high cost and high support activity. Online donors, retail donors होते हैं, बहुत सारे होते हैं. Already I am so occupied trying to provide support to corporates. How can I do even more, right? How can I even do it if there are hundreds of donors? So I think these are very different approaches. जैसे मैंने starting में बोला, for a CSR you will go and meet a person one-on-one, right? For HNI you will go and meet the person. In industry you will go and meet. Individual donors आप मिलने वाले नहीं हो लोगों को. That is the wrong way to do individual retail donations. Retail will only get done by using mass forms of communication or forms of communication which are not requiring you to meet. अभी तो Zoom भी कर सकते हैं, तो that saves time, right? But even one-on-one I will discourage. Apart from saying WhatsApp, which also should be done through a platform. Email कर रहे हो, वो भी platform के through, where you have the ability to target a large number of donors together. I think that is how you will do retail, and there you will reduce your cost of reaching out. Support के लिए भी retail donor का support बहुत easy है. Most of them care about the ATG receipt कि आपने भेजा कि नहीं भेजा. At my previous organization, we had 150,000 donors, and we used to manage customer support with half a resource. One person who used to spend 4 hours of their time doing this. It is not expensive. It is not time consuming, right? So I think it is important to understand that it is different. It's a different way of doing, and you cannot use the same way of servicing a CSR donor, providing feedback to a CSR donor out here. जैसे CSR में हर एक डोनर को आप एक फीडबैक दोगे, रिटेल में हम सब 100,000 डोनर्स को सेम फीडबैक देते हैं, राइट? अगर आपने प्रोग्राम के बेसिस पे डिवाइड किया है तो आप सब, मान लो आपके पास 1000 डोनर्स है, आप 1000 डोनर को फीडबैक दोगे। अगर उसने डोनेट नहीं किया तो भी आप फीडबैक दोगे, शायद बाद में वो डोनेट कर सकता है, राइट? Social media, like I said, social media works is the biggest myth. I don't want to spend more time. The other last thing, I think a lot of people want retail fundraising. So like when I ask them, why do you want retail fundraising? They say, I want it because it is unrestricted, right? I can use the money anyhow. अभी आप सोच लो कि आप एक डोनर हो, कोई एनजीओ आपको आता है और वो बोलता है कि मुझे आपसे डोनेशन चाहिए ताकि मैं उसको यूज कर सकूं जैसे मेरी मन मर्जी, जैसे मैं चाहूं। हाउ लाइकली आर यू गोइंग टू गिव टू हिम? हाउ लाइकली आर यू टू हिम और हर? नो, राइट? यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू डू, राइट? सो व्हाई डू यू थिंक ऑफ द डोनेशन दैट कम्स टू योर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एज अनरिस्ट्रिक्टेड? इट इज नॉट अनरिस्ट्रिक्टेड. It, you have asked for a particular purpose, you use for that purpose. मान लो आपको चेंज करना है पर्पस, मान लो आपको ना, नहीं मुझे माय प्रायोरिटीज चेंज, माय रिक्वायरमेंट चेंज, go back to the donor and ask, can I change it? And it will not be one, it will probably be hundreds of donors you will write one email to. And you will not find anyone coming back and saying, नहीं नहीं मत करो, मुझे रिफंड करो. I will guarantee you that. आप try करके देखो. We have done this across thousands of donors. At times we've had to change purposes. Right? Nobody comes back. At best, they might say, नहीं ये purpose में मत डालो, वो purpose में डालो. But not one single person has asked for a refund. कि नहीं आपका purpose मुझे नहीं बराबर लगा, तो I want a different thing. So now you give it back. Nobody has said. So I think these are some of the myths. I think I have pretty much overshot my time by quite some time. So I'm going to come to the end. So we'll open it up to questions. And Vaishali, back to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dhaval. I think that was extremely insightful. Many points were new for me as well. I think you covered most of the questions. There are two questions from, mainly from Azhar ji and Femida ji, asking about how to increase the number of individuals, especially for NGOs who are working in remote areas. How do you find more individuals is what they're asking.
Right. I think the first thing is we have to look at our phone books, right? Our mobiles, and how many contacts do we have. We must not look for donors. We must look for people, right? Because everybody is a potential donor. Don't try. I find a lot of times we all want to say, who is a donor? Where is the donor? But my experience of individual donation shows that who you think is the donor is most likely not the donor. And who you never thought as the donor can become your donor. Right? For example, we recently ran both a crowdfunding campaign within our own organization at Danamojo, where our entire team raised money for 3 different NGOs. And we asked everybody, we asked our bank relationship manager also for money. We asked our partners also for, our vendors for donations, and everyone gave. And we were surprised by the amounts they gave as well. Right? It was shocking. We never thought they would give, but we said, chalo, puchte. Similarly, we did a campaign with 20 other NGOs recently, and all of them also did follow the same strategy of asking pretty much everyone you know. Right? अगर ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा क्या होगा, नहीं देगा ना, ठीक है नहीं दिया, वो तो anyway नहीं दे रहा. So I think it is important to look at who all we know itself, but have never asked, instead of trying to find donors. And I'm sure anybody, even in a remote area, will have at least 500 contacts in their phone books.
Yes, I mean, it's just if you don't ask, you don't get. I think you just have to keep reminding yourself that.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I think the
Yes.
biggest problem that we are shying away from asking. One of the things that I have learned is that people don't mind going to government and institution because it's their job to make grants. They don't mind going to CSR because CSR has to give 2%. But how do you approach a person, an individual or an HNI? They don't have to give you money, right? But what I think we are missing is we are also helping them as much as they are helping us. We are helping them satisfy a need that they have to donate, that they have to give, right? And that is something that is very, very important. So we must not see ourselves as vendors. We must see ourselves as partners with donors and also helping them fulfill a requirement that they have.
I think that's a great point because we often, have that unnecessary power structure as well within somebody who's giving and somebody who's not, right? So when somebody's asking, I
Yeah.
think it's also important to come into that equal partnership lens. That's a great point, Dhaval. I'm inviting everyone in the audience, if there are any questions, we can do question answers for another 5 minutes. And then Gayatri has a demo to show about the platform itself. And Ranjit has a question / comment rather, because I think he's been trying to use danamojo as a platform. He thinks it's a great platform, but didn't find it as affordable. So maybe you can cover it, or maybe Gayatri can cover it. That are there ways for organizations, because there are a lot of very young organizations who do find it difficult to use such platforms. So is there anything for them?
Right.
Hi, sir. Hello.
Yes, Vamanji, we
Yes.
just let Dhaval answer this question and then we can take yours.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Vaishali, so I think that what I would say is that maybe two parts to it. I would say one is our most expensive plan is yet for a year is yet less than the cost of one person for a month for pretty much any organization, right? And the work that it will do will probably cover the work of 2-3 people. So I think that when one looks at cost, one must look at it and say, what is the cost saving that I have rather than how much it costs. That is, I think, the primary way that I would look at, our platform. And what we've also observed is when we would, if we charge for something, then our customers hold us accountable, and we find that very important. Our customers also tend to use the platform, right? Because if you don't, pay for something, you generally do have a tendency to not think of it too much, and you don't take it seriously. So we also don't want to be in that space. We want it to be in a place where we are able to also provide the value, and we are also being held accountable by our customers.
Right. Thank you. Vamanji, would you like to ask a question now?
Hi, Dhavalji.
Hello.
Yeah. So I use your platform. My organization name is SAT Foundation, and I use your platform from, I think so, last 9 months. And I want to ask regarding some of my friend stays in out of the country, and if I ask them for donation, so whether they can donate it from your platform. I'm trying, but it's not working at once or twice a time.
So yes, normally it is possible. And if you have a problem, you can write to our support team. And my colleague is there, Gayatri, who can answer questions specific to danamojo. But what I would like to get from the audience is more questions in general about individual fundraising. Maybe we can focus on that topic first.
No, it is individual donor also. That the person is individual donor.
Right. Yeah. Sure, they can do it. And if you have a problem, you can ask our support team about it.
Yeah, Dhaval, this is Kritika here. I had asked regarding crowdfunding. So what we saw was, when it's a health related or an urgent need for something, then these platforms, when you engage through these crowdfunding platforms, it usually works. But when it's livelihood and education, the response or the way it is approached is completely different. If it's a natural disaster, everybody is ready to pull in, give money, share. However they can help, they want to do it. But when it comes to education and livelihood, we've not seen the same kind of response. The second is also the platform, the share that they ask for is also something, because at the end of the day, we are not expecting to raise much, seeing the kind of response that we've seen. So, how does this work? How is crowdfunding?
So, Kritika, I have a question from you. What is your expectation from a crowdfunding platform?
See, if you are able to raise about 10-15 lakhs, that would be a good amount to raise for
Like
us.
who will these donors be?
They have to be individual donors, people who are willing to give for that cause.
No, where will these donors come from? That's my question.
Most of them come from our, known circle. And we are hoping, since it's through one of these platforms, people who access these platforms to give will also give for the cause.
So, Kritika, I think that what you said in the first part of your response, that is correct. And your second part of your response is not an expectation you should have. Because crowdfunding platforms don't work like that. Nobody gets up in the morning and says, let me go to a crowdfunding platform to find out things that I want to donate for. People go to crowdfunding platforms in response to a link that is sent to them and they donate to that link.
Okay.
So you are also going to get donations only from your friends and family. You are only going to get donations from your contacts. I would say more than 95% of donations that will come to any campaign on a crowdfunding platform will be out of your own contacts. And we'll leave medical and disaster out of it, like you rightly said, because those are different motivations. And people are not giving to medical directly. People are giving to medical in response to digital advertising that the platform is doing. Please note that. If you go to the platform and you see, you will find enough medical campaigns which are not raising money. Right? And disasters raise money because of the PR that is anyway there in the media. Right? Right? COVID was one big example, but before COVID, like every flood used to happen. But now even that is not happening because it has become so common. Right? You have a Chennai flood. Before that, you had some tragedy in Himachal. You had tragedy in Uttarakhand. People have somewhere become immune to it as well. So the mechanism of raising funds from individuals is by creating your own donor circle, your own donor network of donors, and to basically ask them for money and engage with them to raise money. Right? Now, whether you do that on a crowdfunding platform, whether you do it on your website, that is really your call. We would obviously, recommend you to do it on your website because they are your donor. Why do you want to give them off to the crowdfunding platform?
Correct. So, which is what we do. We completely, engage through our website.
Correct. That is perfect. The second part you mentioned about charges. I think the charges for the work that is being done by crowdfunding platform is fairly reasonable. Most of them won't charge more than 3%. What they do charge is a donor tip. Now, that is something you want to avoid because if a donor is willing, your donor is willing to give 10% more to a crowdfunding platform, why won't they give that to you itself? Right? And that is another reason why you should have it on your website so you can get that extra 10% if the donor is willing to. Right? But otherwise, I think if you look at it from an overall scheme of things, you will find that your cost of doing any other kind of fundraising is much higher because whether it's CSR, whether it's institutional, it needs the founder, it needs the CEO. And that time is much more expensive than when you do individual donations, which can yet be done by a team once a process is created and set out. So I think it is important to be able to institutionalize retail fundraising, create a process, run a process, which a team can then much easily handle.
Okay.
And that is what will reduce your cost in the long run.
Sure. Thank you.
I think we'll take one last question, which is, I think, almost similar from Haresh, which he's asking, is it possible to get contribution for a long-term project for 3 to 5 years? Have you seen any success stories in that, Dhaval? And then we can move to the demo.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't think the donor is thinking it's 3 to 5 years. The donor is, if you are asking money this year, they're giving money this year. You ask money next year, they'll continue to give you money next year, as long as you've engaged them. They are not going to remember it's a 3-year project, 5-year project. Too many things happening in their lives for them to remember it, right? But do you have a strategy of reaching out to donors, engaging with donors? And you can keep asking them year on year. There is absolutely no problem. Who is giving for a long-term project anyway, right? Which CSR will guarantee and you will get money for the 5 years, right? I don't think anyone can say that for any source of funding.
Yeah.
Right?
So in
These
terms
are
of
all
the
promises.
messaging, In terms of the messaging, is it still better to, fundraise for very specific things in the organization, or overall also works, or is there no sort of pattern in that?
So I think that broadly, I would say it is better to do specific, especially with new donors and people who are not engaged by you, people who are not very close to you. People who are very close to you and know you as an organization very well, to them you can do a broader thing. But people who you don't know, who are new, who have never donated to you or have donated to you for maybe 1, 2, 3 years, or they're not engaged with you, a specific messaging works much better.
Got it. Great. I think there's one more question on engagement, Revati,
Yeah.
on how to engage donors. It seems important, hence taking it, and we'll start at 120 with Gayatri's demo. Sorry, Gayatri.
Right. So I think that engagement has various different things. One way to engage your donors could be by making sure you're sending monthly updates to them, right? Informing them about what's happening in your organization, what's happening with your beneficiaries, with your various stakeholders, maybe even with your team, your staff, your other volunteers, what are they doing? Talking about the cause, I think that is very important. If you want to really engage, your donor has come to you because he believes in your cause, by and large, right? And you want him to get engaged with your cause. So can you give him or her information about your cause? आप उनको क्या क्या बता सकते हैं, आप जो काम कर रहे हैं उसके बारे में, बिना आपका organizational update. The update engagement is not just about your organizational update. Beyond that, many other ways as well. You can organize a donor day within your organization if you have a physical setup. तो डोनर्स आपके ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में आ सकते हैं, आप उनको ऑर्गेनाइजेशन दिखा सकते हो. Structured 2 to 4 hour segment where everything is rehearsed, practiced, and processed, right? So that you do it in a very systematic manner. I think these are some of the ways in which you can engage. I think lots of ideas are there, but these are some of the ways that you could.
We have this thing of newsletters getting very low click rate. So what would be the better way to reach out? And is there a difference between the crowd fundraising donors and individual donors? Like, are these people react differently to different kind of messaging?
So I think there were 2 questions in that. Let me take the second question first. My point is, who is a crowdfunding donor? He is actually an individual donor and he's your own donor. So they are not going to react different to messaging, whether you reach them for donating via crowdfunding platform or you reach them for donating directly to you.
But these are new donors who we don't know, and they come to us during our campaigns for Deepavali or some specific campaigns. So they are people whom we don't know actually. But
how do they come to you? How do you think they come to you?
Through platforms, Milap and Give.
That is a very, very small number. Mostly, like I said, that is not the way crowdfunding works. Crowdfunding works because you are raising money and you are reaching out to people. In fact, if you ask Give and Milap, they'll tell you the exact same thing. That to make a campaign successful, you need to create a donor base, you need to reach out to donors and all of that.
So newsletter works, or is there any other thing that
Absolutely,
we should do?
you should do a newsletter. And I think it's the definition of what you think is low click rate. Generally, if you have an open rate of 10 to 15%, that's a good open rate. And I think most of you all will do much better than that. You should not worry about the click rate. You should worry more about the open rate. Because when people, if they are reading your newsletter, that is more important. If they are actually going away from your newsletter by clicking something, then that should not be. You should actually be more worried about that unless it's the donate button in your newsletter.
Okay, great. There's some question about receipt. Gayatri, do you think you'll be able to cover that in your demo? Gayatri?
I think this is a very specific question. I think, Dr. Atma, how do you get contact details of donor who donated while we are not able to send receipt to them? So it's about how do you get contact details of donor donated. I think that's the problem, right? Unless you know the donor, you can't get the contact details.
So I think you'll have to put it in the anonymous.
Yeah, you'll have to just put in anonymous if you don't know who that person is. There is absolutely no way to do this.
Okay. If there are more questions, if there is a feedback form that we'll share, please do ask your unanswered questions there. There is a space for that, and we'll send it across to Dhaval and the Danamojo team. I'll now hand it over to Gayatri to show us a short demo on the platform. In case you're dropping off earlier than when the session ends, do fill out the feedback form and go, and you can ask your questions there as well. Over to you, Gayatri.
And
thank you so
Vaishali,
much.
I'm available. So even if after Gayatri finishes, if people have questions, I'm
Exactly.
happy to take them.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We'll extend by at least like 15 minutes or so. So feel free to stay on, everyone. I hope people do. But in case you need to go, the recording will be shared with you over email. And the feedback form has space for questions and the contacts of the Danamojo team. So yes, over to you, Gayatri.
Thank you, Vaishali. Very good afternoon to one and all. So I'll just start with a small video. Then I'll be following that with a presentation. Thank you so much. So now I'll start with a small presentation about the platform. So allow me to share the screen. I hope everyone can see my screen. Yeah. So Danamojo is a payment solution platform, and we are especially designed for NGOs. In the sector, till now, we are in the sector for 7 years. Till now, we have onboarded 1100 plus NGOs, and we are supported by Rohini Nilekeni, Philanthropies, and Social Alpha. In this sector, we are known as a compliance first organization. So compliant wise NGO को जो requirement होती है वो काफ़ी हद तक दाना मोजो रिटेल फंडरेजिंग में कवर करती है. Let me tell you how we take care of the compliance wise need for the NGO. We have an inbuilt donor form which is fully legally compliant, and whatever mandatory information is there from the government point of view, we capture all the information. So जो भी donor के details government की तरफ से mandatory हैं वो सब कुछ हमारे donor form में capture होते हैं. और जब donor donation देने के लिए आपके website में आते हैं तो ये वो पहले इस form में अपने details डालते हैं जो कि दानामोजो के end पे capture होता है, और इसको आप जब भी चाहें उसको आप access कर सकते हैं, download कर सकते हैं, view कर सकते हैं donor details को. To provide the tax benefit to the donor, we collect their PAN. Not only we collect the PAN, we also have an add-on option. It's a different option where we verify the PAN number. And for all your international donor, for NRI donors and for your foreign donor, we have an option where they can upload their passport copy, and you as an organization can doubly assure that the money is coming from the correct source. For organization जिनके पास FCRA नहीं है, तो if they have prospective donors who are NRI, who are living abroad, but they have an Indian passport and they want to donate from their international debit card and credit card जो कि foreign bank के द्वारा बनाया गया हो, issued by a foreign bank. So ऐसे donors के लिए Danamojo is the only one single platform in India which provides this international gateway for organizations who don't have FCRA, because you don't need a FCRA for NRI donors who have Indian passports. So if you have NRI donors, you can channelize those donations from our platform. And also on receipt generation type, अभी जैसे एक question आया था कि हम receipt नहीं दे पाते हैं, हम receipt कैसे दे सकते हैं. So as soon as a donation is completed, already donor का details हमारे जो inbuilt donor form है उसमें capture हो जाता है. तो as soon as a donation is completed, the donor immediately gets a donation receipt, which is a fully compliant donation receipt, not only for ऑनलाइन डोनेशन, बट लेट्स से कुछ ऑफलाइन डोनेशंस भी आपको आते हैं. कुछ ज़रूर ऐसे डोनर होंगे जो आपको चेक से, डीडी से या बैंक ट्रांसफर से देना पसंद करते होंगे. तो उन डोनर्स का आप खुद उसको ऑफलाइन रिकॉर्ड कर सकते हैं, और रिकॉर्ड करके हमारे सिस्टम से आप उन्हें ATG रिसीट या डोनेशन रिसीट भेज सकते हैं. सो एज ऑनलाइन एंड ऑफलाइन बोथ द डोनेशन इज एक्चुअली एट वन सिस्टम, बिकॉज जितना भी डोनेशन का एक्टिविटी होगा वो आपके वेबसाइट में होगा, और जो भी डेटा स्टोर हो रहा है वो दानामोजो के एंड पे हो रहा है. दानामोजो हर एनजीओ का अपना पर्सनलाइज डैशबोर्ड देती है, उस डैशबोर्ड में स्टोर हो रहा है. तो क्योंकि ऑनलाइन ऑफलाइन दोनों डोनेशन आपके डैशबोर्ड में स्टोर हो रहे हैं, यू कैन ऑल्सो जनरेट द फॉर्म 10BD फ्रॉम आवर सिस्टम. सो दिस फॉर्म 10BD इज एग्जैक्टली विच इज रिक्वायर्ड बाय द इनकम टैक्स पोर्टल in the same format. You don't need a separate manually edit a form 10BD. Just you can simply download the form 10BD from our system and directly take it and upload it in the income tax portal. और जब आप income tax portal में ये form 10BD को upload करते हैं, after 24 hours you will be getting the 10BE zip file and CSV file. So now the donors need to have this 10BE certificates to get the tax exemption. So but your finance team must be like experience this process where generating the 10BE certificate from the zip file and CSV file is actually very hectic, very manual process. But Danamojo has completely simplified this process. This is again automated, where once you get these two files, zip file and CSV file from the income tax portal, just simply upload it in our dashboard back. When you upload it, all your donors will get their 10BE certificates in an automated way in their email address. So in this way, actually a lot of your manual effort, जो आप manual effort करते हैं जिसमें आपका your energy, your time and your cost, all the three things are involved. All these processes we are doing it in a manual, in an automated way, and this actually saves a lot of your cost. because time is money nowadays. So this saves a lot of cost and effort both. And again, we are the only platform in India for those organizations who have FCRA, but the only platform which auto segregates the Indian and foreign donation. So basically what happens in payment gateways, they will connect your FCRA bank account, the State Bank New Delhi main branch account, with the international gateway. So any donation that is coming through the international gateway will go to the State Bank New Delhi main branch, which is not a compliant way of channelizing the money. The Indian donation from the NRIs should go to the Indian bank account, and the donations from foreign donors should go to the State Bank New Delhi main branch account. But that never happens with the case of other payment gateway. But we are the only platform in India. We, based on the nationality of the donor, we auto segregates this Indian and foreign donation. Hence, all your donations, Indian and foreign donations, are coming, stored, and also channelized to you in a fully compliant manner. To proceed ahead, many of the time, organizations think that we are a payment gateway. So let me give you a small analogy that to explain you what is the difference between payment gateways and a payment solution platform like Danamojo. So nowadays we all shop online. So I'll give you the Amazon example. So let's say I want to buy a mobile phone. So what I'll do first in Amazon, first what I'll do is I'll search for mobile phones, because Amazon is also a payment solution platform. So I'll search for mobile phones. A list of mobile phones will come on the screen. I'll select one mobile phone. I'll add the mobile phone to the cart. Then I'll enter my details in the Amazon form where I want the product to be delivered. I'll make the payment from different payment option and I'll get a receipt. This is what happens in an Amazon app. Similarly, in Danamojo, you can list your multiple programs and initiatives that is ongoing in your organization in your website as different donation products. A donor can select one or multiple donation cause in which either donation money amount wise or donation cause wise they want to donate. उसको select करके add to cart कर सकते हैं. Form में हमारा जो donor form है उसमें अपना details को enter कर सकते हैं, which is a fully legally compliant donor form. Then they can make a payment from different payment option. We have different payment option of debit card, credit card, net banking, mobile wallet, UPI, Google Pay, Phone Pay, वो भी कर सकते हैं. And once the payment is successful, they will immediately get a receipt. So this entire 5-step which I told you is designed by Danamojo. You just need to have a website. Even if you don't have a website, we provide NGOs or microsite. We have an inbuilt widget which will be integrated into your website, into a donate page, and this entire process, this 5-step process, we will take care for you. So where was the payment gateway in this case? In this entire 5-step, a payment gateway was only in this 4th step. मान लीजिए आप कोई simple normal commercial payment gateway लेते हैं, तो उस integration of the payment gateway भी आप ही को करना पड़ता है. Not only the technical effort, the financial effort as well. But Danamojo ये पांचों process को आपको करके देते हैं. You don't have to think about creating and setting up a platform like Danamojo. So that's how we are a payment solution platform. As an integrated solution platform, we provide multiple benefits. That's what we have represented as 5 C's. The first C, I have told you that you have a choice where you can showcase your programs and initiative. I'll just cover the ones I have missed. For the convenience of payment of the donor, we have 2 gateways, a domestic gateway and an international gateway. Domestic gateway is for all your donors who have an Indian bank account, and international gateway is for all your donors who have an international debit card and credit card, for your NRI donors who are living abroad and for your foreign donors as well who wants to donate to you from abroad. The next part is on the communication front. We do it in 2 ways. Every month we send some engagement campaigns. We take a giving theme every month. Let's say in December, Christmas is coming. So in every month we'll take a giving theme and we'll send reminders to your donors to donate you back. These are standard mails which goes from our side. But let's say you want to communicate with the donors. You want to send them work updates, newsletters and all. Then we also provide you an email marketing platform. By using our email marketing platform, you can just write one single mail and send it to all those people who have donated to you through the Danamojo platform, and also those offline donations that you have recorded, those donors also get those communications. At Danamojo, we have 3 different type of platforms. Depending on the type of donors you have, you can choose which platform you want. Either you can take all the 3 platform or any 2 or any 1 platform. What is a one-time donation platform? A one-time donation platform is where a donor can come to your website anytime they want to make a donation. Each time they want to make a donation, they will come, fill the form and complete a donation process and will get a receipt. But what is the recurring donation platform? Let's say in your organization, mostly if in your organization there are committed set of donors, you know that you have donors who wants to donate to you every month a certain amount. हर महीने 500 रुपए वो donate करना चाहते हैं. और if you have donors who wants to donate हर साल on their birthdays or anniversary एक fixed amount donate करना चाहते हैं. So you can actually take the recurring platform where they don't have to visit to your website again and again. And the most important, you don't have to do the follow-up. Here also you are saving your energy for focusing on the fundraising activity where all your regular donors are taking subscription, and once they come they take the subscription. Let's say for example I'm your regular donor, I'll choose every month on 15th I want to donate 500 rupees. So every month on 15th 500 rupees will be auto debited from my account. So that's the recurring donation platform. And third is the anonymous donation platform. This is a great tool if you're doing a lot of offline events, street fundraising, mall fundraising, like that. So where donors, they don't have a time to fill out a form, they have limited time. Also, you know that they will give a smaller amount of donation, so they can basically scan the QR code and give you donations in a quicker way. So this is called anonymous because donor is just scanning a QR code and giving a donation. Dhaval has already told you what is the anonymous donation organization have, and we also help you in that front. I'll be explaining you that feature in my coming slides. If we talk about the integration part, integration of our widget into your website is a very smooth process. This does not take more than 2 to 5 minutes. It's a simple HTML code जिसको बस copy paste करना होता है. अगर आपके पास अपनी वेब टीम है और आप इंटीग्रेशन खुद करना चाहते हैं तो हम ये कोड्स आपको दे देंगे. You can do the integration on your own, or else our team will do the integration for you, the simple integration for you with no additional cost. And while a donor is donating and a widget is integrated into your website, the entire process of donation, the donor stays on your website. The donor is not redirected to any other separate page. Next is, out of the 1100 plus NGOs that we have onboarded, these are the large size NGOs associated with us, like CRY, PETA India, ActionAid, SOS Children's Village, MSF, Karunashray, and some mid-size and small-size NGOs are also associated with us. This is the different payment option a donor get. In Indian payment option, the donor will get option of debit card, credit card, net banking, mobile wallet, UPI and EMI options. On an international, they will get international debit card and credit card. Here also the donor will get a scan and pay option. But this donation will not be anonymous because donor is first filling out a form, then scanning a QR code to make a quick checkout. So this will not anonymous. And this check DD and bank transfer option that you are seeing is for the NGO to record offline donation as and when you get it. This is the recurring donation platform. In this recurring donation platform, as I have mentioned, we have multiple frequencies. जहाँ पे donor decide कर सकते हैं कि मुझे हर week देना है, हर month देना है, हर quarter, हर half yearly और हर yearly देना है. Donor can also choose a particular date. They can also choose the start date and end date of the donation. And here on the donation front, we have different payment modes options available like debit card, credit card, UPI, and net banking. And on international donations, if you have, we have international credit card option. We share expiry notification with the donors if the card is going to get expired or status of subscription is going to change. And the most important, we share a weekly report with you. So let's say there are 10 donors are listed for this week who are going to donate, and out of them 2 did not process the donation, or the donation was not processed. So you can see the list of inactive donors in that week and you can work on reactivating them. तो इसमें आपका जो follow up time है ये कम हो जाता है. आपको पता है मुझे 10 लोगों को नहीं, मुझे बस इन दोनों को ही follow up करना है. थर्ड इज द यूपीआई क्यूआर कोड प्लेटफॉर्म. इसमें मैंने बोला था कि हमारे एनोनिमस प्लेटफॉर्म में यूनिक फीचर्स हैं. एक यूनिक फीचर हमारे पास ये है कि अगर कोई एनोनिमस डोनेशन किसी ने दे दिया, मान लीजिए किसी ऑफलाइन इवेंट में किसी ने ज़्यादा अमाउंट में डोनेशन दे दिया. एक्चुअली क्यूआर कोड में डोनर का जो लिमिट होता है ₹1 से लेके 1 लाख तक होता है. ₹1 से 1 लाख तक कुछ भी अमाउंट वो दे सकते हैं. मान लीजिए किसी ने 10,000 रुपये स्कैन करके डोनेट कर दिया और बाद में वो आके बोलते हैं कि मुझे ATG रिसीट चाहिए, तो क्या आपको मैनुअली बनाना है उनके लिए रिसीट? नो. यू कैन जस्ट सिंपली टेल द डोनर to go to your website, put their UPI reference number, the transaction ID and amount, and then once they confirm it, the donor form that danamojo has, that will pop up on the screen. They can fill in their details and claim the ATG. That is one option where you can convert an anonymous donation to non-anonymous. Other option is we also have an option where you can just simply update your expected donation income for the financial year, and our system will tell you how much anonymous donation limit you have. And each time as anonymous donations are coming in, each time you're crossing this limit by 50%, 75, 19, 100%, we will notify you that this much anonymous donation limit has done. And let's say 100% ho gaya, you can let us know, you can write to us, and we'll switch off the QR code. This way you will also save not paying the extra 30% tax on the excess amount on anonymous donation. Next is the campaign pages. Just like crowdfunding campaign pages with danamojo, you can create unlimited campaign pages. But let me tell you how campaign pages are better than crowdfunding campaign pages and how. इन क्राउडफंडिंग कैंपेन यहाँ पे तो आप फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल अनलिमिटेड बना सकते हैं, टाइम अपने हिसाब से सेट कर सकते हैं, उसका कोई टाइम बाउंड नहीं है, अपने हिसाब से आप स्टार्ट ऑफ द कैंपेन एंड ऑफ द कैंपेन सेट कर सकते हैं. दूसरा है कि इन क्राउडफंडिंग कैंपेन जब आप कभी डोनेशन देते हैं तो जैसे डोनेशन कंप्लीट होता है, यू स्टार्ट गेटिंग एड्स, कॉल्स, ईमेल्स, सोशल मीडिया ऑल्सो फ्रॉम डिफरेंट फंड रेजर्स एज वेल. सो यहाँ पे क्या होता है कि दो चीज़ें होती हैं. एक तो आपकी डोनर की प्राइवेसी जो होती है वो इंटरवीन होती है. दूसरा होता है कि डोनर कैन ऑल्सो गेट डाइवर्टेड टू डिफरेंट फंड रेजर. But danamojo में that never happens because we never share your donor details with anyone. Your donor details are completely safe with you. No other NGO will get to know that who are your donors. And second unique feature that we have in our campaign pages is that in crowdfunding campaign there is a tip system जहाँ पे कि वो NGOs को एक पेमेंट गेटवे फी के हिसाब से 3% अराउंड को चार्ज करते हैं एंड डोनर से उसके बाद वो जब डोनेशन कंप्लीट होता है उस टाइम एक एक्स्ट्रा टिप मांगते हैं जो कि 5 से 15% रहता है. द 5% वन इज always hidden. The 10, 12, 13, 15% is most visible and the donor ends up paying even 10%. Overall वो 13 से लेके 15% तक ले लेते हैं as a extra transaction, extra donation. But in danamojo we do not have any tip system. We do not charge any tip to the donor. We have a fixed transaction charge. Rather we have a reverse system. As you are paying the transaction charge, then you have every right to ask your donor a little bit extra. You can set up that percentage what you want to set. And जो भी extra donor देते हैं, that completely goes to you. Danamojo will not take it. Like in crowdfunding platform, that extra amount that donor gives, that completely goes to the crowdfunding platform. And also all our contributors' comments in our campaign pages are verified. You also get a custom subdomain name. Like in crowdfunding campaign क्या होगा कि crowdfunding platform का नाम रहता है और आपका ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का नाम बाद में आता है. बट यहाँ पे हमारा जो सबडोमेन होता है वो आपका फर्स्ट होता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल मेरा गांव मेरी दुनिया एज द NGO, तो इट विल बी www.meraगांवमेरीदुनिया.danamojo.org एंड यू कैन क्रिएट अनलिमिटेड कैंपेन पेजेस whenever you want with danamojo. These are all mobile responsive pages as well. At danamojo, we also have a feature where your donors can gift a donation to their loved ones on personal occasion, festivals, or in memory of someone. We also have a theme feature where you can color customize or change on font size. You also share monthly donation summary and annual fundraising summary to all our NGOs. If we talk about other features of danamojo, let's talk about the customer support. Mostly payment gateways जो होते हैं वो email support पे होते हैं. आपको कोई ट्रबल होता है तो आप एक मेल लिखते हैं, एक टिकट रेज होता है और वो कुछ दिनों में आपको रिस्पॉन्ड देते हैं. बट एट danamojo we are available at both phone and email support. We have a very robust customer support team. You can write to us. We will respond you within 24 hours working hours. Our working hours is 9:30 to 6:30. And as I told you, on data security and privacy front, we never share your donor details with anyone. Our organization model is completely different. We only provide you a payment solution platform. So we do never share donor details with anyone. These are the features which makes us completely unique and much evolved platform and advanced platform than any traditional payment gateway in India. And if I go to the costing part, let's say how we are a cost-effective solution. Let's say danamojo आपको जो भी provide कर रही है, सब कुछ आप खुद बनाना चाहते हैं, you want to build it on your own on your website, then you need to have a website developer, a payment gateway, where the payment gateway integration setup charge you have to take, the hosting provider and operational team to do all this backend जो अभी आप खुद मैनुअली कर रहे हैं. एंड danamojo इसमें क्या होता है, आपको इन चारों चीजों को क्रिएट करने के लिए आपको एनुअली 1 to 2 lakhs खर्चा हो जाता है, डिपेंडिंग ऑन द टाइप ऑफ इंटीग्रेशन यू आर डूइंग एवरी ईयर. But at danamojo, we provide you everything in one single platter. You don't have to worry about the receipt. You don't have to worry about creating the designing of the campaign piece, the technical setup, the hosting provider setup and all that. And our annual charges starts from 999 onwards, and that's how we are a most cost effective solution, because here you are paying us a fee, and we're providing a solution. So that's all about the danamojo feature. This I have already explained you, the 0% transaction feature, where you can ask the donor a little bit extra, and donor can help you to give you a little bit extra to cover the transaction charges. दिस द माइक्रोसाइट फीचर. जिन एनजीओस के पास वेबसाइट नहीं है उनके लिए हम एक माइक्रोसाइट प्रोवाइड कराते हैं जो कंप्लीटली मोबाइल रिस्पॉन्सिव है. उसमें अबाउट अ सेक्शन भी है, फुल फ्लेज डोनेट पेज भी है. दीज आर सम एनजीओ स्पेसिफिक कंपैरिजन danamojo and other payment gateways के बीच में. These are the awards that we have received for our work. We're the winner of NASSCOM Social Innovation Forum in 2018 and also Best Social Enterprise Award. And that's it about presentation. This is the link to the inquiry form. Vaishali, please add the inquiry form link also in the chat, so that if anyone is interested, आपको हमारा platform अच्छा लगा, so you can fill the inquiry form. I'll be giving you more details about the platform, and you can also reach out to care@danamojo.org. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Gayatri. I think this was really helpful. I'm just sharing the inquiry link as well in the chat box. It will come in your email as well with the recording of this session. And I would just request everyone to also fill out our feedback form. It helps us understand what we can do better, and also what are the topics that you would like us to cover. Thank you so much, Dhaval and Gayatri, and for all our audience members. I think we always have great questions from everyone. So thank you so much. And yes, have a great year end, and see you in the new year in January with a new webinar. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Vaishali and Atma team for having us.
Thank you.